If you're able to hear me loud and clear, give me a hi in the chat box. Good morning, Alicia. Good morning, Noel. Yes, so you finally found the chat box. Awesome. So nice to finally get this started. And guys, whenever you are chatting with me, there is an option there just above the chat box, the place where you type in your chat messages, which says panelists. You may want to set it to panelists and attendees. When you set it to panelists and attendees, you can just do a quick test now saying hi. When you do that, you will see that your messages reach not only me, that is the panelist, but also other people, you know. So it gives you a feeling of community like, hey, there are other people in this webinar as well, right? So finally, we got started. Sorry for the delay. We were waiting for some other participants to confirm in, but now, I think another person, Mohammed, might be joining us today or not. I'm not sure, but either ways, we get started. So just give me a moment while I share my screen with you. And again, I'll be making a quick Facebook group where we will be uploading the video recordings of every day. Every day's lectures will be recorded and made available there. Say before around 12 every noon. Before 12 noon every day, we are going to do that. So in case you miss a lecture or you want to revise a lecture, I do not advise you to miss a lecture, because if you do, then you kind of are at a disadvantage, because you lose the ability to ask questions live, which is a very important thing. Like being there, being able to hear it and then ask questions and then clear it out then and there, because you're paying for live training, right? So try and avoid it as much as you can. Try and make it for the lectures, but in case life happens and you're not able to, then you can refer the recordings, and maybe you want to revise a particular topic. This may not be important right now, but as you go along, you will realize that, hey, this topic I'm not very sure about. Maybe I just want to go through it again. So in that case, yes. So those recordings and how to access them, all of them, I'll be showing you. Be part of a Facebook group or private Facebook group. Okay, so I have shared my desktop. So if you're able to see my desktop, type in D for Delhi. And if you're able to see this nice looking mind map, type in M. Just type in anything so that I know you are able to see what I want you to see. Awesome. Great. So let us get started. Today, I'll just give you a brief overview of how, what you have actually signed up for. Like, obviously, what you've signed up for, but you would always welcome the opportunity to know better, right? You want to know, what the finer details of the exam, about the career opportunities, and what all is going to be involved. So to begin with, our timings are going to be 7 sharp every day, all the way till 8:30. So 7 to 8:30 every day, and we may take a break between 7:45 to 8. If you guys feel like it, maybe a 5-minute break just to get up, get some blood circulation going, and then back to learning again, right? Because I don't want it to be one continuous. Sometimes it gets intense, so I just want you guys to have a fresh mind whenever you sit down to learn this from me, right? So to begin with, what is the Cisco CCNA? Now, Cisco is a company which is like worldwide famous. When I say worldwide famous, they are like they are synonymous with networking, computer networking. So Cisco, along with a few other companies like Juniper, are probably the world's #1 or world's most popular ones. And their certification, that is the CCNA, that is Cisco Certified Network Associate certification, is right up there with the best. So when you tell people like, hey, I've done a CCNA, people who are hiring, the HR people who are into IT, people who are also not into IT. A lot of people know what you're talking about. They may not know exactly what you know, but the technical details and all, but they definitely know that you're into IT. This is synonymous with computer network. Computer networking is a vast field, and CCNA has been around as a certification since about 24, maybe 25 years now, and it is still there doing rounds, right? So earlier, the CCNA used to be all about, do a CCNA and get a job. Now, the scenario is that because of the nature of, uh, the nature of the IT roles and how technology has grown, like, you need to know computer networking, and you also need to know some other things before you become eligible for a job now. Like the bar has been set pretty high. So in terms of that, your CCNA becomes a stepping stone for you, right? So it becomes like a foundational program which is going to help you learn more, moving on. So that also I'm going to expand on today. So before, it used to be all about computer networking, out and out. Like, there is this company called JetKing. And just before we go on furthermore, I wanted to confirm that you're able to hear my audio loud and clear. Is there any problem at all? If there is no problem, type in NP, no problem. Okay, great. So the Cisco CCNA used to be all about computer networking earlier, because it was pretty one-dimensional before. But then there is this company called JetKing, which used to do a lot of courses. They're still around, but they're pretty much extinct, like a dinosaur, so to speak, because because of a lot of things. But JetKing's hardware and networking courses were pretty famous. They used to charge a bomb back then, and they used to charge they charge a bomb now. The only difference is people are not taking it now. Right. So this was pretty famous as a hardware and networking course. Now, when you look at it, it is more of a living program. The Cisco CCNA has evolved into a program now. Whereas it's a living program, what is the meaning of a living program? A living program is something that is updated very, very frequently. So every 2 to 3 years, Cisco is going to, Cisco, that is the parent company which manufactures networking equipment. They own the CCNA certifications and all that. So they are going to update the syllabus, entire syllabus, every 2 to 3 years, so that whatever you learn, it is, in line with what the industry wants you to know, right? So you should have updated knowledge. You cannot learn something that is like 5 years old, the way we used to do things before, right? Then also, this program now is holistic, in the sense it is being updated. Earlier, the update cycle was much less. Now they update it every 2 years, because technology is moving fast. And also, it is holistic. Holistic means, it includes almost everything that is relevant, everything that is part of one. That is the meaning of holistic. So we talk about routing and switching. Like, we'll see what routing and switching are. They are the base of how you operate your computer networking. You need to know your routing, your switching. That becomes the base. Then you also have something called the cybersecurity fundamentals. You have cloud computing basics as well, right? So something about cloud you're going to learn here. You're going to have some theory on automation using Python programming language. Don't worry, Python is not something that you have to learn right now in this course, but it teaches you the possibilities that can be achieved, right? Because very soon we are moving towards automation as well. Imagine, like, you have 100 routers, and you write a small, you copy paste a small Python script, and you're able to configure all of them at one go, right? Within like 10 seconds, all routers are updated, their software is updated. Maybe it's like doing a Windows update on like 100 machines with a simple script. Imagine the power that, programming can bring into, computer networking, right? So there is also something called as virtualization. There is also wireless. So all of these topics are an all-round, they give you an all-rounder approach, like kind of like, I don't know if you guys follow cricket, like kind of, you become like the Hardik Pandya, like, you're good at a lot of different things, which is what your job really wants you to do. It doesn't want you to be one-dimensional anymore, at least if you want to be employable, right? So this is the thing, and let me forward this. So the old CCNA, used to have a code 200, 125. Now these are numbers. I'll take you through the Cisco website and I'll just show you as well. But what happens is with CCNA certification, they keep updating it every 2 years. So there is a number that they assign so that they have track of which version they are talking about. So you will almost always go for the latest version, that is 200-301. So the reason why I'm telling you these boring details is because this got changed from Feb 24th, 2020. From Feb 24th, 2020, 200-301 is the new CCNA standard. So any resource that you download from the internet, any video you're looking at, anything that you're reading about, if it does not mention this from an exam point of view or from a knowledge point of view, then you would probably be wasting your time. If it says 200, 125, 200, 120, so that is the old syllabus, right? And when you're choosing your exam as well, like, you will be selecting this particular, you'll be looking for this option. Maybe you're downloading some questions and answers for practice. So you'll be again looking at this, not looking at the old number, 200, 125. Right. So what is different about the new thing that we have, we have let go of this guy and we have got the new guy in? There is something called wireless technologies, like the wireless which you're using right now to connect to the router. Like that technology we're going to explore in depth. Cybersecurity is there, like I've already explained, and there is like automation using Python. Some theory is there. And this now, the CCNA like has multiple options. I will explain that in detail, but earlier there used to be something called, just give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so I hope you're able to see my screen again. If you are, just type in Y or yes. And I'm going to keep this very interactive. You will see me, kind of like asking you again and again to type in stuff, because I have wanted to be interactive. Otherwise, this is just a virtual thing and you're just listening to a guy talking about boring stuff in IT. So the more and more you keep it interactive, you feel your brain more signals to, stay attentive and stay focused, and like, you have more memory retention as well. And how do I know all of this? I know all of this because I'm also into digital marketing and we do a lot of these things there as well. Okay. So anyways, coming back, there is earlier the CCNA, there was something called a CCNA routing and switching. Like there were at least 10 different, specializations within CCNA before. Like you could do a CCNA in security, CCNA in data center, CCNA in XYZ. They had a lot of these things. I think we have it here, maybe. No, it's not here. Yeah, so we had a number of different options here for CCNA. Like you could, with the earlier version, so you could say, I'm a CCNA security, I'm a CCNA in data center. So they had slightly different syllabuses. But the thing is, the only 99% of the people used to only care about routing and switching. So CCNA routing and switching was the most popular one back then. over the last 20 years. So any specializations they came up with, CCNA Cloud, CCNA Data Center, none of these were so popular. Like 1 in 1,000, 1 in 1,000,000 people would do it. So it had no industry buy-in, So kind of like the only thing that people really cared about the industry was routing and switching. That is what eventually people used to do. So this program that you're doing now, 200-301, is the equivalent of routing switching. Now, routing and switching is the most important one and was before, because it involved fundamental concepts, routing and switching, which is a must know for any guy who wants to get into computer networking, right? So that is one thing. And if you want to specialize in a particular field within CCNA, I will show you now. But you have to do the CCNA and then get to the next level, that is the CCNP, and then you can do specializations. Maybe you want to get into security, do CCNA and then get into CCNP security. Maybe you want to get into data center, thing like the servers and all that, cloud. So maybe you want to do CCNA and then get into CCNP data center, so on and so forth. And let me close this out. Okay, so this is already gone. The old data is already gone. And the older CCNA also had the option for you to give 2 exams. Like they used to give 2 exams in the previous, version. And people in the West used to do this a lot, like people in US and Europe and all. See, because honestly, people out there have a lot of respect and regard for certifications compared to people in India. Both people you who are taking those certifications as well as the employers here, more or less it is taken for granted. Hey, anybody can do a CCNA, so what, that kind of a thing. But out there, like they earn their certifications, they don't believe in these dumps and all these things. They really work their way out. And how do I know this? I know this because I've worked with a lot of Australians. I've worked with a lot of people from America. So they really work because they know that you can clear and cheat your way into an exam by doing the dumps. By the way, dumps are your questions and answers from the previous exams. So kind of like, you can cheat your way through the exam, but you cannot cheat yourself into a job which requires you to know what the exam expects you to know. Kind of like you're going to be working that field. So how does a dump make your life easier? It gets you into a job, but if you don't like the field and you can't figure out what is it that you need to do the job, then you're pretty much screwed up, right? So you don't want that happening. So so we used to have, coming back to the point, we used to have 2 exam option. And so people used to give the first exam, that would be CCENT 1 or ICND 1. The second exam was CCENT 2, ICND 2, and then that's it, right? So the point of telling you this, like they say in blogs and all that, TLDR, too long didn't read or too long didn't hear. It would be kind of like CCENT and ICND. If you see anything like this is all old school. So don't refer to any resources. In fact, I'd recommend you not to refer to any resources outside, because when you pay me, I give you all the resources, and those are all the resources that you really need. You do not need to go about searching on your own. That is the whole point of paying for a program that is going to train you. It's not just a live training, but I'm also going to tell you, hey, these are my notes, these are my stuff, just go through this. That's it. Yeah, makes sense so far? If it is making sense, type in MS, makes sense. Right. So now coming back to the new certification levels of Cisco, like what are the different levels? Is CCNA the only thing? No, the answer is no. CCNA is not the only thing. CCNA is one of the certifications offered by Cisco. Cisco offers close to at different levels. There is something called as CCT. CCT is Cisco Certified Technician. Now, the problem with the CCT is that it is pretty much, more of you maintaining a Cisco router or a switch, being able to, not so much as being able to configure it, but being able to, kind of take care of it, maintain it, perform routines on it, kind of like a hardware level overview. So if something goes bad, you know what to do. Not open up the box, of course, but the troubleshooting, basic troubleshooting, or basic, kind of like maintenance tasks and all. So this has no buy-in in the industry. So if somebody's telling you to do this and you'll find a fantastic job, then they are lying, or maybe they don't know any better, right? So CCT, nobody looks up to. CCNA, like Cisco Certified Network Associate, this is the bomb. At least when you want to make a mark when you're starting out, like this is a must-have, right? So, and there are three options in this, three specializations within this. Like one is the CCNA 200-301, which we are going to be focusing on. And we also call it as the CCNA Routing and Switching, or CCNA Enterprise, right? That is the name for it. So the other option is CCNA Cybersecurity, CBROPS, like this is the short form, CCNA Cybersecurity. Now, there's a problem with something like a CCNA Cybersecurity is that it is not good enough for you as a first level course. So they have tried to include more of cybersecurity in this and less of routing and switching in this. So when you do CCNA, you can either do this or do this or do this, right? So I will always recommend this. Cybersecurity, you have other programs that I will talk about later. In fact, we are coming out with I'm tying up like with one of my friends in Mumbai who's got a cybersecurity agency, not a training institute, an agency where they run about 60 to 80 people he's got under him, and they run a full throttle agency. They serve cybersecurity clients and all that in Mumbai. So we are planning to come out with a training program, maybe a 3 months one, because cybersecurity is not a 1 month affair. Like, you have to spend a minimum of 3 to 6 months. And we plan to get people trained online, live, using, experts from his team, and then maybe get them into, paid internships, and also, possibly leading to a job out there in his organization, because he keeps wanting people, and he runs a genuine, it's just not a placement thing as well. Like, it is more of where he has a requirement for people, like he has 30 to 40% attrition rate every year, because people who work there within 1 or 2 years, they quickly leave and they move on to bigger organizations, right? They work for Accenture, they go for, Infosys, they go for all the cybersecurity companies like Deloitte, PwC. So that tells you a little about, how good of a starting platform it is for people who are starting out their career. So he's doing a fantastic thing there. So we want to hire people there, and we want to hire trained people there. So it's going to be a paid training thing, which you're looking at if somebody is interested in cybersecurity. So that is a proper, learning path. If somebody is telling you can become great at digital marketing with just a course, they're lying. If they tell you they can become great at cybersecurity with a course, they're lying. So it has to be a learning path. It has to be a series of skills. You have to spend at least 3 to 6 months learning from people who are practicing it in the industry. The reason you guys are here listening to me is because I have spent close to 15 years in the networking industry. So I know what I'm talking about. All the shit here, I know, what I'm talking about. If it is just a trainer, they're going to give you a trainer's perspective, which is not bad. But then you want to know, you're not just bothered about the course, you want to know about your mentor. What has this guy done? Why is he teaching me? And why is it important for me to listen to him? And what is beyond this? What is beyond the CCNA? So these are questions that only an industry professional can answer. So whenever you're getting into any special, and even cloud computing for that matter, you need to have somebody who's done a CCNA, and then you can step into cloud computing. Do a CCNA, then step into cybersecurity, so on and so forth. So I do not recommend this guy here. This dude here is gone, right? So I recommend this one. This is what we're going to focus on. And there is also something called as CCNA DevNet. Now, DevNet is nothing but a program for people who are into coding and they want to develop applications for networking, right? So I'll leave it at that for the time being, because we are not programmers. I don't know if you guys like programming. Did you ever like programming? Just be honest with me. I'm not going to direct any brownie points for this. Did you guys like programming, or you've come across programming so far? You can just type out your comments on chat. because most people pick up networking because they inherently, you know that they don't like programming, or they have tried programming and it has not worked out for them. Generally speaking, from how I know my students from the last few years, I picked up networking because I was no good at programming. You know, so this is mainly for programmers who want to develop applications and all. We are not that breed. We are not that crude. So, we are going with this, right? So now after CCNA, you can do your CCNP, which is like another level. After CCNP, there is a CCIE. Now, it is not necessary for you to do this and then go here. But then if you do this separately, you will need the knowledge of CCNA anyways. So better still, from a knowledge point of view, take baby steps. Don't try to jump to the top floor of a building. You'll only end up hurting yourself. So take it step by step, the first floor, second floor, third floor. That is a more reliable way of, and guaranteed sure shot way of doing it safely. So CCNA and then CCNP. This is Cisco Certified Networking Professional. And then you have the CCIE, which is like the pinnacle. When I say the pinnacle, it is the very top of all things in networking. So if you do end up with your CCIE, which is very, very difficult to achieve, and when I say very difficult, I mean you have to be working in an environment with all CCIEs and study for over a year before you even come close to this. The exam fees for CCIE is 5 lakhs per attempt when I last checked. And there is only one place in Bangalore, and then the next center nearest to you is in Brussels, Belgium. And it is going to be a 6 to 8 hours exam where you are given a lab and you have to stand in the lab and configure everything literally. Like, it is very challenging. People take at least 2-3 attempts before they are clearing the CCI. But once you clear the CCI, it opens the floodgates and you become very, very eligible and very attractive to a number of companies, right? So that is about the CCIE. So the reason I'm telling you all of this is because you should have some ambition, some goals, some vision beyond just the CCNA, and you should have an idea as to, hey, what are the different things? Where am I being led to, from this point? Now, there is also something called as the Cisco, certified Internet Network Architect. So this is one of the, Cisco Certified Architect is a level above the CCIE, where there is a small team from Cisco which is going to make you give an exam, and they're also going to conduct a live interview with you. So you'll probably be flying somewhere. So this is not so much, this is pretty recent, and not a lot of people are focusing on this. Even if you do a CCNA, you get into entry level. CCNP, you get into mid level. CCIE, you really get into a job that pays you well and gives you challenges. Like, you become hot, right, with the CCIE. Okay, so this is about the specializations. So if you want to specialize in anything related to CCNA, it is not possible at the CCNA level. So you're going to have to specialize from a CCNP level only. So you do your CCNA and then you get into CCNP. Enterprise, you can do it. That is, CCNP Enterprise would be CCNP routing and switching. You can do CCNP data center, CCNP security, and so on and so forth. And typically the structure of the CCNP, just for you to have an idea, there will be one core mandatory exam, and there'll be one concentration or an elective exam. So there'll be 2 exams that you have to give before you clear the CCNP certificate, and Cisco gives you an official certificate, right? So your CCNP is going to probably, an example I've given here is, enterprise. For enterprise, I've given an example. This is directly from Cisco's website. So CCNP, this is the core exam, which is mandatory. And the concentration or the elective exam could be any one of these, depending on what you want. Maybe you want to get into SD-WAN. We'll see what SD-WAN is all about. Maybe you want to get into designing networks. Maybe you want to get into designing wireless networks. So whatever it is, accordingly, you'll choose that exam. And when you do this, clear this exam and clear the other exam, you will get your CCNP certificate. Now, there are a number of other options. How many of you guys have heard of CompTIA? Have you ever heard of CompTIA? CompTIA. CompTIA is how I pronounce it. And I do pronounce a lot of things in funny ways, so don't take it too hard. Never heard of CompTIA? CompTIA is a company which is a consortium of manufacturers worldwide. So they have a lot of different, what do you say, certifications like A plus, Network plus, Security plus. Now, I will not expand too much on this. The programs are really, really lovely. CompTIA program, if you look at the syllabus, guys, just one second. If you look at the syllabus, like they are huge. They have this concept of 1 inch deep and 1 mile wide. So they cover a lot of topics, but they don't do it in enough depth. So they give you an overview of a lot of things and they explain it in beautiful ways. So if you guys are interested, I can share you free resources for Security Plus and Network Plus. These are really good. But I don't recommend CompTIA because it does not have a lot of buy-in in the industry in India. Probably they have more buy-in for this in US, the USA, in probably Europe and all those places. I don't know what the scenario is now, but in India, if you tell somebody I've done CompTIA, they will just look back at you like like they've seen a ghost or something. Like they don't really care. CompTIA has no value. So if somebody is telling you, hey, do the Network Plus, do the Security Plus, do the A plus, do this, do that, CompTIA, then do not, because that is good for knowledge, but none of the employers really care about it. So if you have spare time to kill and you want to kill it with networking, then approach me privately and I'll give you the textbooks or whatever online resources I have. But really, you don't need to go this path. This is just for your knowledge. I'm telling you the things that you need to do, the things you need to focus on, and also the pitfalls you need to avoid. Like, hey, why am I doing a CCNA? Why are we not doing Network Plus? That is because it doesn't sell. You're not doing this as a hobby. You're doing this to get a job, right? So CCNA jobs, your prospective employers are going to be small businesses. When I say small businesses, I don't just mean a mom and pop shops. I mean a lot of different small businesses, which are anywhere between 1 to 100 employees big. I'm talking about corporates. Corporates are going to employ you. Enterprises are companies with thousands of users, right? Educational institutions like colleges, schools, and all. Government. I remember there was a job, vacancy, which was about 1.5, 2 years back, just shortly before the lockdown, about a good 6 months before the lockdown. The government had come out with this curricular that they wanted each and every college in Goa to have an official, kind of like two people, official one person or two person. I don't remember how many positions were open. Network administrator. And that person mandatorily needed to have CCNA knowledge. Certification is one thing, but they at least needed you to have the CCNA knowledge. So somebody tells you, hey, CCNA doesn't give you a government job. Technically, it has. Like, the people have gotten jobs. I know this because I work. Again, how I know this? I know this because I work with Rosary College. I work with Damodar College. I work with the government colleges of Kepe, Bodda, like a lot of different colleges. That is how I know this. Right. So government also has a requirement, and even there is this one girl in Pune who once called me. She was applying for a government job and they mentioned CCNA as a requirement. So if you're getting into networks, IT, the opening levels of government job which does not involve programming, then a CCNA knowledge would be a good point to start with. Like, they are going to copy paste it and they may not even ask you those tough questions, but having this could be a prerequisite. And you will also find employment within ISPs, of course. Who else but ISPs, like internet service providers? So these are the people who are going to give you jobs, basically everybody out there. Why everybody? Because everybody, the whole world has undergone digitization. What is the meaning of digitization, or maybe a digitalization? It means all those old files you used to have, all the old paperwork you used to have, which you used to maintain by hand, you have now transferred into the PC. You're using Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and all these things, and you're storing those files on your hard disk or on a server, right? So, and the server could be on your LAN or it could be on the Google. Like you could store it in your Google Cloud or drive.google.com, Google Drive, or in maybe Dropbox or maybe OneDrive, right? So all of that means that they are connected. Everything is on a computer now. All the computers are interconnected. And now we need for these computers to talk to each other and share data and receive data, send and receive, share data, right? That is why everybody needs networking. And when you have a network like this, you need people to take care and monitor and maintain and configure and troubleshoot those networks. That is the reason basically everywhere you're going to find this alternative. Now, real world job roles, when you get into something like networking, entry level network engineer, network administrator, network support technician, network analyst, help desk technician, system administrator, ISP, or the NOC team, right? So a NOC team, by the way, is a team which sits within an ISP. Their job is to monitor the uptime. Their job is to monitor the uptime of a number of different, critical links like lease lines and all that. So they do a very, a kind of like a job which is like monitoring all high critical, high mission critical or high value, infrastructure of the ISP. So kind of like that. So that is about real world jobs. And I have also not mentioned so this also makes you eligible. It makes you kind of not directly eligible, but it gives you an option to get into these fields as well. It's not just networking, but then after doing this, if you take on Amazon AWS or something like that, it is going to be a bomb, because when you have a powerful combination of CCNA, which is networks, and then servers, which is AWS, cloud, which is AWS. You cannot just do AWS and cybersecurity without getting into CCNA first. Practically, I'm saying, practically you need these fundamentals. How many of you guys have heard about Amazon AWS and all that? You've heard good things, bad things. Yes. So the future is going to be the cloud. The future already is the cloud. Everything is on the cloud. So something like Amazon AWS is awesome. Azure is awesome. Google Cloud is awesome. But then to get into those careers which pay you high, you need to have a strong, solid foundation, and that foundation is going to be from CCNA. So a little bit about me. I am not an IT trainer. These are some of the companies that I have worked with. I worked for D-Link India. I worked for D-Link USA and Canada. I worked for a company called Digisol. All of these are hardcore networking companies. You must have heard of D-Link probably. I worked for Digisol. You must be having probably a Digisol router in your home right now. I don't know. And there is also this company called EdgeCore. This EdgeCore company is based, it's an international company which actually manufactures devices for Cisco, and Cisco just puts a sticker on it and sells it. So they're like a technology company. They actually manufacture stuff, EdgeCore, right? So, and then this was my initial phase. And recently what I've done is I have also established, my own cybersecurity company in Mumbai with one of my friends who's a partner. The name of the company is Aryev. And I also have, like, what we're doing right now is through my IT training company called as Vedasys. And I'm also into digital marketing through my concern called as GoAmarks. Like all of these are different things that I'm pursuing right now, like because I really love each and every one of these things that I do. And this is kind of like what we do. I have been a part of the IT industry for over 17 years now. I've been a part of IT. I started in 2003 as an engineer, and trust me, engineers back then were just as useless as kind of like we are now. And that is not your fault at all, because I believe we all get in with the right intentions, but the system is pretty, outdated. It doesn't give you the skills you're looking for. It just makes you do the grind. So kind of like, it is good if you want a degree, but do not, especially, I don't know about Noel, what are you planning after your 12th? But if you're planning something, for your career, don't depend on an engineering degree to just give you that. It is going to help, but it's not going to be your savior. It's not going to, kind of like save your soul and, get you through to the other side. So I would probably want you to focus on skills. Rather be a BCA or a BSc computer science with hardcore IT skills, which can feed you, which can feed your family, which can get people to put money on the table, than be an engineer who is good for nothing. Because that is what eventually the product of the system is right now, at least in an Indian context, right? And I'm saying all of this being an engineer myself. So don't take it personally, but what I'm telling you to do is don't focus on the degree. Don't believe that, when you do your engineering degree, you have arrived. Like somebody is just waiting to give you a call and give you a six-figure salary. Not going to happen, because, we are like a 1 billion population nation. There are like lakhs of engineers who pass out every year, and the standard of education is so. If you, even if you plan to do an engineering degree, that's great, but just do it with, alongside, develop a skill, maybe learn a programming language, be good at something, learn cloud computing, learn CCNA, learn XYZ, right? So this is the thing, and this is what we do. This is how we, do it with colleges, with Rosary College, with Damodar College. And now this is my mission, kind of like, I want to be able to skill people who have an ambition to be employable. Because just doing a course is one thing, but having knowledge which makes you employable, which can help you clear an interview and make you sound more smarter in front of an interviewer. So that kind of a thing is going to make you, like, if the interviewer says that you're not just done a course, but you also have some knowledge, you know what you're talking about, even though you may not have the experience. It makes a difference. It makes a huge, see, because you don't have experience, you can't do anything about it. You can't do shit about it. You don't have experience, period. So if you have, well and good, but if you don't, then you're starting out. So when you're starting out, what do you do, right? You put the best version of yourself out there, and and you hope for the best. That is what we're going to do with you. Okay, so that is the thing. And the objective of this course is knowledge. We're going to prepare you for the official CCNA 200-301 exam, and I'm also going to impart practical knowledge on, from an employable point of view, employability. So you clear the CCNA exam, it is one thing, right? But I have come across, hundreds, if not thousands, of CCNAs who are barely able to explain what is going on. So if you don't have the knowledge, that degree is only going to get a foot inside the door, and then you're going to have that door slammed right on your face, because you don't know anything about, the CCNA thing, right? So it is important to have the degree, yes, but more important for you to undergo the training and have the knowledge of how things work, how to configure, how to troubleshoot, how to set up, how to plan, how to strategize, so that job and networking is there, is yours for the taking. Because if you don't have those skills, no company is going to train you on that. Because you claim that you are a CCNA. How did you clear the exam if you didn't know this? That is what the interviewer is thinking. They're being probably polite to you, and they say, hey, we'll get back to you on this, but what they're really thinking is, hey, how the hell did you clear this exam if you didn't know this in the first place? I think maybe you just went through some doubts. So you do not want people thinking that about you. And so what are we going to do? What is the best way for you to use this program? Attend daily lectures, a must. Take your own notes, start writing. Do not do it on Google Docs, do not do it on any of the other platforms. Start taking your own notes. There is some magic associated with you, writing things down. There is a strong connect that, between writing with your hands and the brain, that causes things to work. Yeah. So Um, Review my personal notes. My personal notes are my slideshows, which I'm going to share with you probably in a few days' time before the end of this week. So those notes will make it easier for you to review, because if I'm going to train you on something and I ask you to refer the textbook, I have given the textbook to some of you guys. I don't know if I've given it to you yet, Noel. So anybody who's not received the textbook, please reach out to me and I will share a copy of that. Just email me on ABBYSHARK, Abby Sharp with a double B @gmail.com. So I can send you the official textbooks, but I'll tell you at the same time, in the same line, I'll tell you that you're not supposed to refer to them because they are mighty huge. Like, those ancient Greek novels they used to write, maybe, the Troy and Helen of Troy. I don't know. They're like huge volumes and volumes of those Greek novels. So something like that, it will take you probably a year to do your CCNA that way. So I would want you to focus only on my notes, go through the video lectures and do what I'm telling you to do, and that should be enough. So when we train on something and I share you the same thing again, my personal notes again, it becomes easier for you to revise it, right? Because you're going through the same resource. Okay. And any new terms that you've heard today, go and research them up on Google, because I can only give you 1%. The remaining 99%, you have to walk it up. You have to, create that environment of learning, and you have to push yourself through. So if you hear a new term and you're just waiting for me to explain absolutely everything in a 1 month concise program, that is not going to happen. Even if you want me to do this program for 6 months and you pay me 10 times the amount, even then, I think there will be stuff will still be, or not be able to cover. It is that vast. Networking is that vast. Don't make a mistake of thinking, hey, this is easy. It is not easy. But then, that is what we're trying to do. We are trying to do which is not easy, and not a lot of people are going to do this. And that is the reason that you're going to probably have a better chance of getting that job, or something like that, as compared to the other people. So it's not going to be easy. So uh, CCNA is something that it's not easy at all. But then we make it easy through simplifying the concepts, through practice, through live training. Otherwise, just pushed into a room with pre-recorded videos, it can get pretty boring pretty soon, right? So any new term, the way you can make it easier for yourself is attend live, ask me questions. Any unfamiliar new terms, ask me questions. Google search it, YouTube it. So that is going to keep you going very, very strong. And within the next 1 month, you will see yourself completely transformed. And you're also going to implement a lot of the topics that you learn using a software called a Cisco Packet Tracer, which I'm going to be giving you a copy of very soon. The software which you have to install, probably Alicia is already working on it. And Noel, I'll be giving you the software soon. So whatever topics we are learning new, you will be able to practice it on that software. And when you practice and learn, like eventually that is what really matters. Nobody cares about this concept which you are able to explain so beautifully. As long as you can configure that router or switch correctly, I think you get the job. I think you get the thing. You have it. No, yes. I think your father must have given you the thing, or maybe he left his system behind and it is already there. And Alicia must be wondering, actually, Noel's father, he was, we worked together on training him as well, maybe about a year back. Yeah, so he works in the ship in a very good, this thing in a IT role. He's into a specialized role into CCTVs and all. He's a very good friend of mine as well. So Noel is pretty young. In case you guys are just wondering, Noel is pretty young. He's just turned his 12th. And in fact, I'll tell you the person who was, there is this one young fellow who had done his 9th standard. He's from Verna. His name is McKinnon, right here in Goa, who had completed last year his 9th standard, and he wanted to, join the CCNA. And he wanted to get into cybersecurity. He wanted to do his MS in the UK and all that. So he's the youngest guy that I have trained, and God, he was a very brilliant chap. In fact, in the batch of 10 people, which we did last July, August, he was one of the people who really got it, every concept and everything. So I'm probably the last person who's going to judge you by your age or by your background, because I've had a lot of experiences with people who, are simply hardworking and they simply are very clear about what they want to do. So if you're checking again, like I have told you, it's not easy, but then people have done it. Like if a 10th standard kid can do it with determination, then you can too. There is no reason why you cannot. Anybody can do it, right? So that is the thing. We'll just take a small break. Do you guys need a small break? If you need a break, say yes. If you don't, you can say no. No? What about Alicia? And my rule is, I usually do not, I usually don't make it a democracy. Democracy is where 51 and 49, right? So majority of the people, whatever they say, usually we go with. Even if one person asks for a break, I give it to them, because I think, that person really needs a break and that person won't be able to continue without it. So just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. And when I'm back, within 1 minute, literally, I'll continue with the details of the exams and probably will then fold up for today. Right? Just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So yes, let's talk a little bit about the CCNA exam details, the official, information in case you are planning to give the exam, right? So this is stuff that usually you'll waste a lot of time. I see a lot of people wasting their time on forums asking silly questions. Not people from my batch, but generally when I go to CCNA forums, people keep asking, hey, how many questions do you have? And what is the cost of the exam? And what happens when I do this? And what type of questions and sample questions, like everything surrounding the exam, right? So I don't want you to be that person. I want you to know everything about the CCNA exam. And then we move from tomorrow, we're going to start our technical topics, right? So the first thing is like, to get any and all the information on the Cisco CCNA exam, official exam, you're going to go to cisco.com and you're going to navigate your way through. I'll show you how. But for the time being, if you want a quick link to the CCNA page on the Cisco website, right? Here it is. It is https://hi.switchy.io/CCNA. So you can click on this and see where it takes you. And let me just open up the browser. Okay, I hope you guys are able to see my browser. If you can see my Google Chrome browser and see me browsing, type in B, because I want you to see this now. So you'll go to cisco.com. And it doesn't matter, you can say you are in India, EN_IN, so that means English and India. Stay on the site of cisco.com. Doesn't matter which option you choose, the site structure is going to be the same. Okay, so when you click on support and learn, Wait, where was this? Yes, support and learn, because they kept updating the site so many times. Like this is a new, menu now. So support and training and certifications. Explore all the certifications. Now you have Cisco certifications. They've completely revamped their website. Then you come here, there is like a lot of different options here. Associate level is what we are looking at, and CCNA specifically is what we are looking at. Products. Okay, hold on. If we go and choose stay on the site. Okay, it is the same thing. Support. Okay, click on more. Training and events, certifications, associate. The network needs you. Probably what I would do is support and learn, support and training and certifications. It was a lot less confusing back then. Training for individuals. Okay, what if I directly, okay, that is the reason I had made this short link, See, now it is a lot more clearer on this page, but to navigate to this page, it's a pain. So I'll go to the home page. Support and learn, trainings and certifications. Explore all certifications. Cisco certifications, professional, advanced, online testing. No, this is about one of their latest events. They used to have hyperlinks here. You can just click and find the information. Wow, they made it very, very, very difficult. Regardless, see, the information that you need to actually have is this link will never change. This is my custom link that I've created, 200,301. The cost of the exam is approximately $300 plus tax, give or take. Okay. And it's going to be 120 minutes long. All the information is going to be here. Whatever you need, the syllabus, everything. Review exam topics. I'm going to give you short links for almost everything. If you want to know about the CCNA, that use the link which I've given you just now. And it is a single exam, 200,301, 120 minutes long. Approximately about 90 to 100, maybe 120 questions are going to be asked. There'll be different types of questions, and the price usually varies between $195 to $300. It depends on the region as well. If it is Africa and maybe Asia, they charge a little less. But then with taxes and all of those things, it becomes close to, I don't know, maybe $240, $260 to $80. We'll have to check now what the price is. Usually it is around that for an attempt. So if you do this attempt, CCNA attempt, and you don't clear it, then you do not get the certificate. And the next time you want to attempt, you have to pay this amount again. So whenever you're giving the exam, make sure that, one of my students made this mistake. He booked an exam. He didn't check the resources I gave him. I told him to tell me when you're giving the exam, so I can tell you which is the resource that you can consult for bettering your chances of clearing the exam. He just gave the exam and he failed it. He flunked it. So it's precious money. So, I don't want you to waste your money. So if you're planning to give the exam anytime in the future, just let me know. And I will let you know which resource to refer to. The eligibility for the exam, there is nothing. I mean, as long as you're above 13 years old and nothing else. I mean, that's it. And why I mentioned 13 years old is because I had this, there is this guy whose son, I can't name this guy because he's pretty influential here in Goa. His son, who's in 6th standard, he wanted to give the CCNA exam. Now, when he's in 6th, he's approximately like 11 years old. So I had to search for the eligibility criteria. That was 13 years old, and he couldn't give the exam back then. He wanted to learn and give it, but he couldn't give it because of this reason. Right. So it doesn't make, it didn't make sense for them back then. But he was a guy. This kid was a guy who he was operating his iPad and iPhone and MacBook and all, and he used to learn programming. He used to do a lot of. He was a whiz kid basically. He could program. He could make websites, all at the age of probably 11, 12 years old. That is the reason I've actually put this in here. So that is the story behind it. Like you might be wondering, hey, we are all adults. Why is he put 13 years and above? Like, this is the reason. Like, and if you want to schedule an exam, really serious about it, then you can think of a date and probably book the exam. But given the COVID scenario and all of these things, and the uncertainty that looms large, I do not recommend that approach. I just recommend you to focus on learning and making sure that you're on top. And whenever you're ready for the exam, just help come back to me and I will help you book the exam. So when you want to book the exam, like, you can do it yourself as well. It will be conducted in one of the PSN View centers. PSN View, along with Prometric, these are two different companies. They hold, they have exam centers all over the world. So whether you're giving your GRE or GMAT or TOEFL or Cisco CCNA or NCSA, MCSE, doesn't matter. All of these exams should be conducted at an examination center, which is rented out by these guys. So they will have the systems in place. They'll have a software in place, everything, and you'll have to go and give a CBT or a computer-based test. And then once you clear the exam, the results will be announced then and there. So when you want to look at that, the booking of the exam, let me just share that link with you again. See, Cisco certifications, like from this point on, you can actually, but I won't get into the details of how we're going to do this. You can find a test center near you. The first and foremost thing would be to sign in or create an account and then find a test center, and all of those things. You'll always have a test center. There are two test centers in Goa. One is here in Margao, and one is there in Panjim, right? So don't worry about it. But this is where you can find information on how to book yourself up for the exam. Well, let me take a look at what this is. Yes, and because of the COVID thing, they're also giving you an option to take this exam from home. In the sense, there'll be a proctor or an examiner who will monitor your computer, and you need to be available on a webcam, and they're going to monitor how you take the exam, and you can even take the exam from home. But they're going to be pretty strict about this, right? So you can do this during the COVID scenario. They're giving this option as well. So not to worry. Whenever you're ready for it, just let me know. What are the different types of questions? Again, multiple choice questions, drag and drop questions. There used to be something called as a simulation, where you would be expected to enter commands to configure a router or a switch in the exam. They will ask you what kind of command should you run. They won't give you multiple choices. They want you to type in the answers on a JavaScript, this thing. So it'll be like a live thing, kind of like, So there'll be a piece of, there'll be a small window where it's with a blank space where you're supposed to type in the right commands and press enter. It will give you or generate an output. This used to be the toughest thing, not because people didn't know how to configure, but then because there are many ways to configure, do the same thing. There are many ways to skin a cat. So if you're not giving it the exact same way that Cisco wants you to, then you would lose that point. And simulation questions used to have the highest weightage. If you have 1 or 2 simulation questions and you flunk even one, you don't pass the exam. The exam passing is about 70% something, I think around 725, 700 something out of 1,000. So if you're not passing clearing with 70%, you're out. So simulation, if you get it wrong, you usually fail. But then those questions are no longer there. That is a good news. Earlier, people used to have it, those questions. Otherwise, it is multiple choice, drag and drop, a lot of different things. And again, if you want sample questions, how does a question look like? I mean, what kind of questions are we talking about? Go to these links. So all the links which I'm giving you, save them in a notepad or something. See exam tutorial videos, what type of question. They have videos out here which show you. Right? So just go through this. And yes, and the syllabus thing again. Close this. Syllabus again, I've got another link for you. So all of these are super convenient. Like all of this would take you days to just sit and figure it out, So my job is to make it easier for you to, learn CCNA. So here we go. For the syllabus thing here, and you can even download the syllabus per se. Download the complete list of topics in a PDF format. Right? So, and when you click on this, it's going to give you data about what all we are going to cover. Most of this is going to be covered, not everything, because the questions are not 100% as per the syllabus. Syllabus looks pretty vast and pretty intimidating, but don't worry, we are going to go through it step by step, and by the time you're done, you're going to find it easier. So, but I want you to go through the syllabus once, even though it may not make sense to you right now. And the reason for that is I want you to become desensitized to those intimidation. Desensitized in the sense, whenever your brain is processing something new, it is reluctant to learn. Psychologically, your brain is still trying to tell you, hey, this is new information. It will take time. So just go slow. You need to revise, that kind of a thing. So when you go through some information again and again and again, it is a quick brain hack. The next time you go through this, next time I mentioned, something like spine lifting, or maybe I mentioned something like fiber, and I mentioned IPv6, TCP, UDP, like you have seen this somewhere else. So you can focus on deeper learning than just learning a new term. Hey, TCP, okay, that's a new term. UDP, that's a new term. You'll waste a lot of less time than you just go through this once or twice, read it out aloud, so that you're familiar with all of these key terms. That is the syllabus. And if you give the CCNA exam, it will have a 3 years validity from the date of clearing the exam. So if you have given the CCNA exam today and you've cleared it, that certificate which you get is going to be valid for 3 years from today. Right? And if you want to renew that certificate, give the same CCNA exam again, or give a higher level exam like a CCNP paper. And there is also a link which I don't think makes sense for you right now. You can check the certificate status that you have, because the certificate you get is going to be unique with a different ID. So your employer may want to check the status of that certificate. What after CCNA? When you talk about what after CCNA, I recommend a field like cybersecurity. I recommend system administration, core networking, cloud computing. Now, what exactly is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is nothing but your ability to protect your IT investment. So if you bought a server, you have data, you have information, you are serving users with the service, you want to protect your whole network from hackers, from people who are stealing your data, from people who want to, maybe get your systems down. Maybe a competitor is trying it. Maybe some hacker in North Korea or China is trying to do that. So cybersecurity is protecting your network, protecting your systems, protecting your operating system, protecting your data, and ensuring that your business or your data or whatever it is running without issues. Right? So to be a good cybersecurity person, like I talked about the 3-month course, the reason it is long is because you need to know a lot of different things. A simple certified and ethical hacking course alone is not going to cut it. So probably you're looking at something like, knowing an operating system well, administration point of view, not just knowing how to click and point and click and use it, but how to administer it, how to configure it. You're looking at learning maybe Linux open source, because that is going to definitely help you. You want to learn a coding language for scripting, something like Python or Perl, and then when you do these things, and maybe you also do the CCNA, on top of that, the certified ethical hacking, is going to help. So skill stacking on top of the CCNA, you do your CCNA, then you learn maybe Linux, you learn some scripting, some Python, and then you do the CH, then you become a much more employable person than somebody who just does this and is hoping against hope. And if you are looking for a job in the US, then something like Security Plus is in high demand out there. Like, it's a standard thing. In fact, the Department of Defense, the US, National Defense Team, the country's, military, this thing like the CIA and all of this, they operate under the DoD, Department of Defense. It's the Ministry of Defense. They recommend the Security Plus for any cybersecurity roles out there as a mandatory thing. So cybersecurity is very much a possible career. Systems administration is a great, thing. Now, NCSA and MCSE are related to Windows Server 2012, 2016, 2000, all of these. So when you talk about 2019, in fact, last. So NCSA, MCSE, I think, have you guys ever heard about NCSA and MCSE? Or gone through it, or somebody told you it's a good program? And no, if you guys have not, then no need to worry about it. But in case you have, then also no need to worry about it. But because if you're going to do it, those exams are probably being retired by this December. So it has no value after this December. So don't do it. Somebody, actually, there is another guy who's supposed to join us today. His name is Mohammed. So he was asking me about this, and I called him for a demo lecture. So probably if he is going to listen to the recording, he'll get to know, right? So if you want to get into systems administration jobs, do your CCNA, and then on top of the CCNA, you will probably do, NCSA, MCSE, or at least get the knowledge to give the certification, because we're still going to use Windows servers everywhere. Learn some Linux, open source operating systems like Linux, and also learn some virtualization, right? So if you want, how many of you guys have played around with virtualization, used VMware or VirtualBox? If you have, you can type in I have. If not, you can type in not. Yes, so VMware is also a great thing because a lot of things are going virtual. A lot of servers are being virtualized, like as we speak. So, so if you're going to learn it well and learn it really deep, then there are jobs to be had there as well. Right? That is about systems administration. Core networking. Core networking is where you are going to get into only networking. You're not going to get cybersecurity or systems administration or cloud. You just want to work with ISPs typically, for example. So then on top of the CCNA, you will do your CCNP and your CCIE. And then you may also want to specialize in some topics like firewalls, which are network security equipment. Typical examples of these certifications are Fortinet, Palo Alto. And then as part of core networking, you're also probably going to learn some Python programming. Why? Because it will help you do automation. So you can do a lot of things on autopilot. You just write a script and your router configures itself. Maybe 1,000 routers at one go, maybe 1,000 switches at one go. You can configure them within 1 minute using this technique. It's very, very powerful. So if you're getting into a core networking role, these are the skills that you're going to need. And if you want to get into cloud computing, like cloud computing is the future. It is already the present. It is going to be the future. So your servers, your networking equipment, storage, everything is being virtualized. It's made into a piece of software. It's moving to the cloud. So when you talk about eventually offices in the future, they are just going to have the desktops, all of the desktops which are there, your laptops which are there, connected to a local network, and that's it. All of your servers, all of your data, all of your most important assets, everything is already going to be on the cloud. Right? Everything is going to be on the cloud. So it is important to learn cloud. So I recommend Amazon AWS because they are by far the world's number one. Right? Azure, they are so big. Amazon is so big that there is no number two. Azure is number three. You say like this guy is so good. There is we don't know number two. There is only a number three. That kind of a thing. So they are the cloud computing market leaders, and the proper way to do it would be to take an Amazon Web Services cloud practitioner program, and then when you do a CCNA and then you do the AWS cloud practitioner, again you become more powerful in terms of finding that job or finding a job profile as compared to just doing a CCNA or not doing CCNA. So worst case scenario, you don't do a CCNA and you're just hoping for some job to click. And then probably you do a CCNA, that's your stepping stone. And then you do any of these things, including but not limited to, maybe, and then that gives you vastly better options. Because now you become a specialist. People will pay you to, get stuff done. They're happy to take you on board and they're happy to help you learn everything. And you're trainable. This means that you're trainable. A skill set like this means obviously a real job, you're going to learn on your own. You'll make mistakes, you'll learn a lot of different things, configuration, troubleshooting, a lot of different things. Now, Cisco's own paid training is there. This point I included because a lot of people I used to have used to be from the US and Australia and all that. So their own paid training is about 5 days, 8 hours every day. Right? This is called as a boot camp program, 8 hours every day for 5 days, total of 40 hours. Costs you anywhere between $800 to $2,000. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Gosh. Right. So obviously you're saving a lot of that when you train here with me and all, plus you get a lot more than just the official training curriculum. And your training kit is the ebooks that I'm sending you. If I've not sent it to you yet, please WhatsApp me in the group your email address and I will have it sent it to you today. I will send you a link to the Cisco Packet Tracer software as well. I'm going to send you my personal notes. This is going to take you probably till Wednesday, Thursday, or a Friday this week. But I am going to send it to you because I keep making changes to this all the time. So I just don't want to give you something that, hey, I gave you the notes and we're done, So I want to give you something that I'll be training on live. So there is changes. I'm going to make those changes and I'm going to share them with you. And also, the unique thing about this program is that we're going to use Cisco Packet Tracer files, right? There'll be certain what we call as, templates. There'll be a lot of templates, which if you just double click and open, you would be able to configure them. There'll be instructions. Basically, you have to do nothing. Like, in fact, I'll tell you, I'll probably call this program as a lazy man's CCNA or something like that, because it is that damn simple. Let me show you an example of the template file which I'm talking about. See, it will be a file like this. So when you double click on this file, it is going to be opened up by a Cisco Packet Tracer software. See, something like this. You saw the screen, right? I'll do a guest login right now. Because I don't want to log in. I'm too lazy to log in right now, to be honest. So when you do a guest login, the software opens up. It just wants you to register. It's not a paid software by any means. So, there'll be a diagram here. All the IP addresses, everything is going to be here. The objective is here. The configuration is here. How to check is here. Everything is there. Like this kind of a thing, not, I don't think anybody in India is doing this yet. So kind of like just making it easier for you to master the CCNA. Yes, and these will be provided as and when we do the live exercises. So today, if you do XYZ topic, I'm going to share you that file for XYZ topic. I'm not going to dump you with all those files and tell you, hey, just look out for yourself. Right. So that, guys, brings us to the ending of today's program. So do you have any questions that I can answer? I'll be happy to. If you have any questions, you have something you want to ask me, you can now, or you can ask in the WhatsApp group, or you can ask me one-to-one, or you can call me anytime. That is absolutely fine. Yes, if you, and my favorite phrase is, if you don't have any questions, type in NQ, that is no questions. Okay, Noel is saying NQ with the caps. Great. Alicia, you have any question? I think you're typing in something, no questions here as well. Okay, no problem. So tomorrow, 7 a.m. as usual. I hope you enjoyed your lecture today. And if there is anything I can do to make it easier for you, please let me know. I'm happy for your feedback. And until tomorrow, have a safe day, stay safe, and see you tomorrow at 7. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks, Alicia. Thanks, Noel. And take care. Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Alicia. Bye.